Hello friends, this is Worm, and I'm back today with another episode of the Fix It mini-series. It's a series where we talk about every single sub-archetype of weapon in Destiny 2 and how we can make them either better or make them perform maybe not so good so that they're all in line with each other without overstepping their particular role. And of course, the last two videos were aggressive frame glaives and adaptive glaives. And today we're moving on to rapid fire glaives. And a lot of the stuff from the other two videos that I said, about glaives, they also stand with rapid fire, with rapid fire glaives. But with rapid fire glaives, similar to adaptives and aggressives, I think that rapid fires need to have a more particular niche. Again, glaives, they are all like basically exactly the same. Okay, I cannot stress enough how I would rather just use a aggressive glaive or an adaptive glaive over a rapid fire glaive, because the glaive, to me, the glaive is basically as good as its shield duration is. Like I don't use glaives a lot for the projectile effect, unless it's one of the exotic glaives, to be fair, but I'm not using the exotic glaives all the time, right? Or anytime I'm using a glaive. Sometimes I want to use legendary glaives. But with that being said, rapid fire glaives feel to me like they should be a much faster ad clearing style weapon. Okay, like rapid fire anything just always strikes me as a really solid ad clear option. Rapid fire auto rifles, for example, rapid fire fusion rifles, for example. Like these, they strike me as something that is more geared towards ad clear, but especially with glaives, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, glaives are never used really in DPS by any means, so why would we want to have a DPS option for a glaive? We want an ad clear, and especially for the rapid fire frame, because it shoots faster. So let's talk about the changes I would want to make to rapid fire frame glaives. Starting off with the rounds per minute or 80 rounds per minute, that in my opinion is just too slow. Okay, like these glaives, like they're rapid fire, they're supposed to be shooting fast, but 80 rounds per minute doesn't feel fast enough. I would crank that up to, I would say, probably 120 at like a baseline. 120 rounds per minute. You can reduce the damage that they deal as well, like if Bungie sees fit to balance them out, but increase their fire rate, number one. Number two, though, and I don't understand why glaives don't do this, but rapid fire on every other weapon archetype gives you deeper ammo reserves, with the exception of rapid fire glaives. So why don't we increase our ammo reserves, so that if we're using say something like, well, I don't know any rapid fires off the top of my head, unfortunately. Anyways, you're using a rapid fire glaive, right? And you have say a 7-round magazine, and you have 3 reserve mods on. You should be able to hold like 35 to 40 shots with that glaive, because they come out really, really fast. Right, that would be the very first thing I do. Now, in terms of the defensive capability, I feel like the shield duration is actually right where it needs to be on rapid fire glaives. It's a really short duration, right? It's on average, I want to say they're like around 20. I think is like kind of a baseline. 20 to 30 is the average shield duration. You have some outliers like the new raid glaive, which I think has 38 as its base shield duration, which is pretty good for a rapid fire, not gonna lie. But that being said, I think that the shield duration is pretty appropriate, because for a rapid fire glaive, you don't want it to be a defensive option like that. We talked about adaptives and how adaptives should be changed to a defensive style glaive. We talked about aggressives and how aggressive should be our heavy hitter glaives, our big damage. I think for rapid fires, in terms of the aside from the RPM increase, another really important factor would be the actual melee speed. And when it comes to the melee speed, all glaives hit at the same speed on melee. Whether it's adaptive, aggressive, rapid fire, they all hit at the same speed. I think rapid fire glaives should have a quicker melee combo. Okay, that way when you're attacking with a melee, in the time it takes you to get off let's say 3 normal hits with an adaptive or an aggressive, with a lightweight you could get off 4, maybe even 5 hits with it. Now, of course, the melee damage on these would be reduced a little bit so that it's balanced out, so it's not just cutting through everything. But again, in situations where you have just a bunch of adds, that glaive can cut through them much faster than the other 2 glaives, versus the aggressive, which we talked about, which would handle groups of adds pretty okay, but it would handle higher health targets better. An adaptive, or I'm sorry, rapid fire frame glaive wouldn't do that quite as well, but you would have the ability to melee faster, right, and shoot the weapon faster. Now, I think another thing that needs to come with the rapid fire frame glaive is essentially the lightweight movement speed boost that you get when you're using a lightweight weapon. I don't know why that's not on rapid fire glaives. Like, again, a rapid fire glaive, to me, it feels like it should be a lightweight polearm, right? Like, you know, aggressives be the heavyweight one that hit really hard in terms of damage. You know, the adaptive is kind of the midline one, so to speak. You know, it's not really great at anything in particular, with the exception of defense, which you can go watch that video if you really want to know about my thoughts on adaptives. But you know, with lightweights, I feel like they should be hitting really, really fast, and they should be very mobile. You know, so if I'm using an adaptive frame glaive, I can get across a room really quick, so I can start meleeing targets, and then I can, you know, get to cover if I'm in a situation. And that shield duration is also, you know, with it being shorter, it doesn't, what am I trying to say here? It's not like something that, like, oh, you know, I can just rely on my glaive shield frequently. Like, you can use your glaive shield for like burst situations, you know. And what I'm particularly thinking of here is, like, you know, if you want to take it up against a boss, right, you're meleeing a damage, you're doing the melee combo, 4 or 5 melees, you know, a lot faster, right? It's substantially faster, 33% faster, maybe 40% faster when it's meleeing. But then a boss goes to do a stomp, you can put up that glaive shield, you can absorb that stomp, but after that your glaive shield is pretty much going to be depleted. And I also thought maybe another idea we could have for for rapid fire frame glaives in particular is an energy drain when actually taking damage from enemies. And this builds into the idea of, it's not really a weapon that you're going to be using as a defensive option. Like, this is much more of a add clear and, you know, maybe a burst damage, you know. So maybe you have a full shield charge, you can block, but as soon as a boss stomps you, that shield is completely gone, like it's completely expended. So it's more like a parry as it is to, you know, opposed to like a block. You know, you're just instead of blocking damage, you're just kind of parrying the attack. You know, boss stomps, you block that one stomp, then you continue your melee chain, or you get the heck out of there because you're, you know, potentially putting yourself at a risk. But yeah, that's what I feel about rapid fire frame glaives. Again, I think that in terms of where glaives are, rapid fires really don't have a place. I mean, you can make an argument for, you know, a place for everything, I guess, if you really wanted to, but in comparison to aggressive frames and even adaptive frames, like lightweights, they just don't feel the same. And I think that increasing their melee speed, increasing their rate of fire, and decreasing that shield duration, or even maybe the shield energy consumption, could really put them in a different category. You know, to put them in a place where, hey, this is strongest add clear you're potentially going to get on a glaive, but it doesn't do the same thing that an adaptive does, or it doesn't do the same thing that an aggressive does. But anyways, with that being said, that's my thought on rapid fire frame glaives. Glaives in general are fun. This is like, glaives are one of the most underused weapon archetype, so I really hope that maybe somebody at Bungie sees these and considers some of these changes, you know, these change suggestions that we have here. But yeah, with that being said, I want to hear your thoughts on rapid fire frame glaives and what you think we could do to make them better. Just tell me all that stuff in the comments. Of course, do me a favor, drop a like, it helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, conversations, debates, discussions, all that good stuff. And do me one more favor, watch the videos you see here on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.